There we go.
Hello, this is Dr. Fred Garcia, MD, PhD, with another of the continuing programs of quantum healing, basically utilizing today's latest research and knowledge from all the traditional medical fields to help you to do the smart things to heal yourself. That's number one. And diet, exercise, these are all to be found in my other videos. I have 25 videos that describe the quantum healing process from physical, emotional to mental. And what has happened in the last year is that my interest and also the value of my time is best expended staying on the latest breakthroughs in neuroscience. Because neuroscience offers us healing of the entire body utilizing energy that is basically free, knowledge-based, and no side effects. Anyway, this is today's talk. You should refresh Quantum Mental Healing Part 1, Part 2. This would be 3 and 4. Okay, first of all, the research says very simply that chronic inflammation is the cause of aging, heart disease, cancer, everything, Alzheimer's, diabetes, chronic inflammation. Number one cause of chronic inflammation, diet. So my basis of my program are no breakfast. Having a fasting state is very healing to the body, and most people don't even miss it. No breakfast, no sugar, no bread, no dairy, no thinking. Up to 90% of all our physical disease, as well as mental, is caused by negative thinking, creating a hyper nervous state throughout the system, and we'll talk about that later. So that's the bottom line. Eat good, exercise is very important. Aerobic exercise, this is a hot bit. Your aerobic abilities are the best indication of your present health. You all know you can have a normal EKG, normal stress test, walk out of the doctor's office and drop dead. But they have found, and one of my friends and mentors, Frank Schellenberger in Reno, Nevada, he's one of the pioneers that said the best indication of your present health, your future health, and your longevity is your cardiac aerobic endurance, aerobic. So I used to tell my patients, go out and walk X, Y, Z until you sweat. Now I'm telling them, push it. So here it is. The better aerobic shape you are in, then you can actually, if research is correct, you can not only help the healing process, but also reverse the aging process. That's what I'm all about. Okay, so we exercise, diet, and then we go through the emotional healing using the different chakras, the breathing. I've talked about that on my videos. And then also the breathing, the getting to the non-thinking reality or the alpha state. We've talked about that. Now today we're going to move into the most recent evidence, and it's quite astounding, is that our thoughts that we thought were innocuous, just thinking. Well, it turns out our thoughts, first of all, we have 50,000 thoughts per day, 86% are negative. And so we are creating a lot of our disharmony, our fight or flight, stress, which is causing all the disease processes. So, of course, you want to eat right, you want to exercise, but then you also want to go through the process that I have described step by step in order to combat these negative, destructive thinking. And most people don't know. And that the mind can be reprogrammed. We've done it all our lives. See, the brain is a meat computer. It will run the body, and there's no discussion about that. Everybody knows that. But what a lot of people don't understand is the mind runs the brain, The mind is a quantum computer. It has no physical element. It has an energy element, and it's connected to the subconscious, I do believe, and also to the quantum field. But in order to really delve into quantum healing, you have to read all my information in toto. And then you will understand that there is a state of being that is optimal. And I will describe it to you. It's called the alpha state. Okay, right now, when we're talking, working, that's the beta state. The beta state has a little voice that says, black, white, good, bad. It's a filter. Well, the alpha state, and I started meditating many years ago, and meditators, after years of meditation, get into what they call a non-thinking reality, the alpha state, and we know the exact frequency, 7 to 8 hertz. Okay, and medical science has proven that the meditative state is very healing to body and mind. So, alpha state, good. Now, also, they have found that the super virtuosos, the pro athletes, and normally to be a superstar takes 10,000 hours of practice. The 10,000 hour rule. Anyway, when they are doing their thing, and I understand this very well because I used to play big time tennis, went to the city finals. Anyway, LA City. And when I was coming to the net, sometimes the back and forth was so rapid that it wasn't me. So that's called being in the zone. And any athlete will tell you that they can't explain it, but it's a non-thinking reality. And everything's in coordination. And that happens to me. The zone is 7 to 8 hertz, the exact frequency as the meditative state. Now, I'm going to say something that we segue over to religion. And I'm a student of life and all the religions, all the medical traditions, everything. But very interesting that Nicodemus asked Jesus, how do I get to heaven? And he says, you get to heaven as a child. I was a pediatrician, and I know that children under 5 years old are in the alpha state, 7 to 8 hertz. So we have meditation that no one denies is a very healing state, the zone, which is, I think, cool, and then heaven according to Jesus. And children, we all know children under 5 are different from us, and then they change. They get into the beta state. Their experience is filtered. It becomes a narrative rather than experiential. So, now that we know that the frequency that is absolute ideal for healing and health. Now, it's the same frequency that's on the sun, that's in a blade of grass, is in your heart, and is the Schumann wave that surrounds the earth. 7 to 8 hertz. It's called a Schumann resonance. So I do believe that that is the code of the universe, 7 to 8 hertz, the alpha state. And so now, when I told myself that, I says, okay, what can I do with that? Well, for me, as a student of Nicholas Tesla, one of my heroes, he said, to understand the universe, you must know energy, frequency, and vibration. So if the whole universe is vibrating at 7 to 8 hertz, wouldn't that be a good place to vibrate with it? And sure enough, looking back at all the sages, the Buddha, and Jesus, Krishna, they all talk about the state of being, the alpha state, a non-thinking reality. We spend too much time doing and thinking and not enough time being. We were meant to be. And all of our thinking creates health problems. So I can give you some very, very applicable examples. Dr. Nakamura, Japan, his work was mirrored by Dr. Teller in Stanford. They showed that, well, when you're thinking, you're sending out electromagnetic energy. So they showed that when you think negative thoughts, the water freezes, you freeze water and you have poor structure of the molecules. negative thoughts being hate, anger, Hitler, whatever. If you think positive thoughts, Mother Teresa, love, joy, then you freeze the water and you have beautiful crystals. So your mind has changed the crystalline structure of the water. This is just a very simple example. Everyone can look up and it's understandable. Well, like I said, 86% of our 50,000 thoughts are negative. So we are making negative water in our body. 80% of our body is water. So this is very simple. We got to stop sending negative information to our brain and keep in a state of fear and panic. Because unfortunately, we did not evolve for happiness. We evolved to survive. And because of that, because we evolved to survive, that keeps us in a state of alertness and mild panic all the time. We're afraid of being eaten for millions of years. That was our problem. We're afraid of, maybe animals, predators, warring tribes. Just in moments we could be fighting for our lives. So we learn to always err on the side of being super careful. That shadow over there is, I have to be careful because that could be a lion or just say, nah, just a bush. So over millennia, we learned to err on the side of being super cautious. And that's obsessive, that's where you get OCD. Okay, well, exactly. So all these problems have origins, but there is a solution. No? So we think this is our problem. We live in a narrative state. We know the exact parts of the brains that are involved in this talking to ourselves, about ourselves, incessantly. It's prefrontal cortex and also posterior cingulate cortex. That keeps on the conversation going. Now, what I'm going to show you with quantum meditation, it decreases the chatter and the constant narrative. See, what I feel, and I'm not the first one to talk about this, is I'd rather live life than talk about it to myself and think about it. And so thinking is the problem. And if you really cut to the chase, all the ancient religions, they're all basically saying the same thing. And now, with the latest research and understanding of the true nature of matter and reality, quantum physics, which very few people understand, go to my website, Dr. Garcia Quantum Healing, and you will see the equation that explains how the mind interacts with all the primary forces: gravity, strong force, weak force, electromagnetic force, and how it creates reality. And it proves what some people have not, well, not some people, but the sages, that we are indeed participating in our own reality. And it's all explained in quantum physics, except nobody understands quantum physics. Except, well, I don't want to be braggadocious, but Richard Feynman, he got Nobel Prize for the interaction of subatomic particles. And he was asked, Caltech, Big Bang Theory, he was asked flat out by one of his, because quantum physics is so, quantum theory is so counterintuitive. It's like upside is downside. Anyway, it makes sense to me why. Because, anyway, Richard Feynman, Nobel laureate, Caltech. One of the students says, Dr. Feynman, do you understand quantum physics? His answer, no, I don't, and I doubt that anybody else does. Well, I knew from my lifetime of study that there are people that must, it was discovered, quantum physics, in the 1920s. And for 100 years, it's the true nature of reality and matter, and everyone's denied it because no one can it's so counterintuitive. So it takes a guy from me, from East LA, went to UCLA, and I figured out why. Because I have studied the people that should know the true understanding of quantum physics. Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Aristotle. Those guys all understand quantum physics. And you can, and just in a few statements you can see it. Krishna says, be the independent observer. Buddha says, you are what you think. Jesus says, be a passerby. And here is maybe one of the most important phrases that I've digested and have used it on my patients that allows you to go with proper breathing, it's all in my videos, into instant Zen meditation. This comes from Aristotle. He said, when consciousness perceives itself, you're at the source of all being. Anything is possible. And when consciousness perceives itself, you're at the source of all being. Anything is possible. Also, that state of being is the meditative state. It's a non-thinking state. And so I've digested what Aristotle said and teach my patients, first of all, to breathe deeply, belly breathe. This has been known for thousands of years. Your breathing affects your mental state of consciousness. So your belly breathing, you're getting more oxygen, and then you're visualizing the horizon, locking in all your chakras, becoming one with the Mother Earth and Father Heaven. I read this stuff, but yeah, it's kind of cute. But you are a conduit of the energy, and so you breathe properly, no thinking, and you become aware of your awareness, aware of your awareness, aware of your awareness. When you are aware of your awareness, you are at the source. You cannot be thinking. That's deep Zen meditation. And I taught you how to do it in 20 seconds. It took me 15 years. But anyway, there's just another one of the many programs that will be coming forth, sponsored by Garcia MD, the Quantum Healer, Quantum Medical Associates, and my mission, sit down, is to heal the world with existing knowledge. All this stuff I just told you is in the research. In fact, we know precisely the areas of the mind that work as the thinking process progresses. Now, when you're aware of your awareness, and you have a clean body, and you're in a non-thinking reality, that's the alpha state, and you're in communion with the universe. So that is healing. And that was Buddha's major way of healing, is teaching people how to get into the alpha state. Anyway, I've just taught you, practice it morning and night, 7 minutes throughout the day, and you will come to a new level of reality of life, and it'll be more controlled, more peaceful, interrupted only by hopefully joy, because as I'm an old man, as I go through this process, I pick up nuggets from wherever I can. And there's a lot of them out there, especially in neuroscience. And I'm reading them all and I'm loving it. Anyway, hospice, research, hospice people. These are people that know they're going to die.